If you've ever felt like you were playing a game where the rules were being written by someone else, just as you thought you had finally figured them out, you might find a kinship with slippery Jim diGriz. He is the protagonist of Harry Harrison's The Misplaced Battleship, and he is not your typical spacefaring hero. He isn't a soldier following orders or a righteous lawman seeking justice. He is a rogue agent of the Special Corps, a man who survives by his wits, his charm, and his ability to navigate the messy grey spaces of a vast and often indifferent galaxy. The story doesn't start with a grand galactic war, but with a quiet discrepancy in a dusty archive. While digging through records, diGriz stumbles upon something that shouldn't exist, a blueprint match. He's looking at what appears to be a standard heavy freighter, the kind of vessel you see every day in the shipping lanes. But the dimensions and the internal structural layout don't add up for a cargo ship. When he digs deeper, the truth is far more terrifying. The freighter is a mask. Beneath the outward appearance of a peaceful merchant vessel lies the skeleton of an ancient, devastating Warlord-class battleship. These are engines of destruction, relics of a much more violent age, and finding one in the middle of standard commercial traffic is like finding a loaded cannon hidden inside a delivery truck. This discovery shifts the scale of the story immediately. What diGriz thought might be a localized smuggling operation suddenly becomes a potential existential threat to galactic stability. He takes this intelligence to Inskip, the head of the Special Corps. Inskip is the voice of institutional skepticism, the man who has seen 1,000 conspiracies that turned out to be nothing more than petty corruption. He doesn't want to believe that a massive, illegal warship is being built under the noses of the authorities, but diGriz knows better. He knows that in a galaxy this large, the most dangerous things are the ones that look perfectly ordinary. The trail leads them to the planet Citanuvo. On the surface, it looks like a hub of peaceful commerce, but underneath that veneer, a massive project is underway. Someone is using the cover of civilian industry to construct a weapon of war. To uncover the architect of this scheme, diGriz realizes he can't just kick down doors. He needs to play a much more sophisticated game. He decides to use his greatest weapon, his persona. diGriz orchestrates an elaborate ruse, shedding his identity as a rogue agent to adopt the mask of a wealthy, high-flying billionaire. He enters the upper echelons of criminal and political society, moving through high society circles where money and power are the only languages spoken. This part of the book highlights the sheer skill of diGriz's deception. He isn't just lying, he is performing. He inhabits the role so completely that he can draw out the very people he is hunting. He is looking for Pipe, a man of immense wealth and influence who is suspected of being the mastermind behind the illegal construction. The tension builds as diGriz moves closer to the heart of the conspiracy. The scale of the deception is mirrored by the scale of the technology involved. This isn't just about a few stolen credits, it's about the power to reshape the political landscape of the stars. When the confrontation finally reaches its breaking point, it happens on board the massive battleship itself. This is the climax of the action, a high-stakes standoff where diGriz uses everything at his disposal to maintain control. He uses the threat of hydrogen bombs and the manipulation of magnetic fields to hold his enemies at bay. It is a scene of intense, claustrophobic tension, set within the vast, echoing corridors of a machine designed for nothing but death. diGriz manages to secure the ship. He confronts Pepe, and through a combination of tactical brilliance and sheer audacity, he achieves his objective. He arrests Pepe, believing he has dismantled the criminal enterprise and neutralized the threat. He has won. He has the man, he has the ship, and he has the victory. But as the adrenaline fades and the dust settles, the victory begins to feel hollow. The reality of the situation is far more complex than a simple arrest can resolve. It is in this moment that the story pulls the rug out from under both diGriz and the reader. Pep, the man diGriz thought was the mastermind, is revealed to be nothing more than a pawn. He was a distraction, a loud and visible target meant to draw all the attention. The true architect of the entire scheme is revealed to be Angelina. Throughout the ordeal, Angelina had played the role of the victim, a terrified, beautiful woman caught up in the dangerous machinations of men. She was the person diGriz likely felt a need to protect, or at least the person he thought was a casualty of the conflict. Instead, she is the one who has been pulling the strings from the very beginning. While diGriz was busy playing his high-stakes game of cat and mouse with Pepe, Angelina was playing a much larger game entirely. As diGriz stands there, holding the prize he thought would end the crisis, He watches as Angelina uses a hidden scout ship to slip away into the vastness of space. She escapes into the dark, leaving him standing in the middle of a conquered ship with a prisoner who is essentially useless. The realization hits diGriz with the force of a physical blow. He hasn't won. He has been outmaneuvered. He was a piece on the board, a tool used by a superior manipulator to clear the way for her own objectives. The true purpose of the battleship, the ultimate goal of the conspiracy, and what Angelina intends to do with it remain an open, terrifying question. When we look back at the story, we see that Harry Harrison is doing much more than just writing a space adventure. He is exploring the theme of deception and the masks we wear. In this universe, identity is a weapon. Characters use social standing, gender, and even the very shape of starships to hide their true nature. The battleship itself is a metaphor for this, a massive, deadly object disguised as something benign. There is also a profound commentary on the illusion of control. Slippery Jim diGriz is a man who prides himself on being the smartest person in the room. He is the ultimate manipulator, the man who can talk his way out of any situation and outthink any opponent. But the story's ending serves to humble that confidence. It suggests that no matter how clever you are, there is always a larger game being played, a more complex web of motivations that you might not even be aware of. diGriz thought he was the predator, but he was merely a participant in a much larger, more predatory cycle. The scale of space plays a crucial role here as well. The sheer, overwhelming vastness of the galaxy is not just a backdrop, it is a functional part of the plot. It is because the galaxy is so large, so empty, and so difficult to police that a Warlord-class battleship can be built in plain sight. The vastness provides the shadows in which these massive deceptions can grow. It allows for a sense of isolation and uncertainty that stays with the reader long after the book is closed. The most striking element of the book, however, is its subversion of the traditional hero's journey. In most stories of this kind, the protagonist faces a great evil, overcomes it through courage and wit, and restores order to the world. diGriz does the tactical work of a hero, but he fails the strategic mission. He achieves his immediate goal, stopping the immediate threat of Papy. But he fails to secure the galaxy. He leaves the situation in a state of even greater uncertainty than when he started. This creates a very specific kind of feeling for the reader. It's an unsettling, somewhat cynical conclusion. It suggests that victory is rarely clean, and that winning can often be a form of defeat if you haven't understood the true nature of the conflict. It moves the story away from a simple tale of good versus evil and into the realm of political intrigue and psychological warfare. In the end, The Misplaced Battleship is a story about the limits of individual agency. diGriz is a man of immense agency. He makes things happen. He changes the course of events. But his agency is ultimately limited by the systems and the players that exist on a grander scale. He is a master of the small game, but he is outmatched by those who play the long game. As he watches Angelina disappear into the stars, we are left with the same sense of unease that he feels. The battleship is still out there, the mastermind is still at large, and the galaxy remains a place where the most dangerous things are the ones that look like they belong.